Soft like a bunny, vicious like a wolf. All day. All day. All day. Got itchy butt. Oh, you scratch your butt. Scratch your butt. Give you a butt scratch.
Oh, no, I see how it works now. It's got like a newest episode button, and then it does it. Okay. That makes sense.
What it do? What it do? Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. OhD. About to get some of the best clam chowder on the East Coast. I'm in Yarmouth on Cape Cod right now, and it would put Pismo chowder to shame. Okay. No. Wrong. Wrong. East Coast clam chowder is shit. Shit compared to Pismo clam chowder. Might be the best clam chowder you can get on the East Coast. Pismo chowder to shame. There's nothing on this planet that puts Pismo chowder to shame. You puked when you tried clam chowder? Guess it's not for you, huh? Who cares what you invented? See, that's the thing, is like, we invented clam chowder. It's like, yeah, we perfected it, so. You know what I mean? Soup is just kind of gross. What? My God, man. I just don't even understand how people can fucking deal with that. Soup is gross. Like like freshly made clam chowders where the clams were pulled off the beach that morning in a fucking made in-house, perfectly buttered, crisped, and grilled sourdough bread bowl with the top. Like, how is that, like, gross? Fill me in. Because that sounds fucking, like, delicious to me. Sounds amazing to me. You like soup, but clams taste like snot, and I live in Florida where the seafood is fresh. Dude, like, clams in the clam chowder should almost be, like, unnoticeable. And they should be cooked. They shouldn't taste like snot. Like, the clams in the clam chowder are cut into little tiny strips, boiled into that beautiful potatoey, creamy goodness. All those flavors come together, and then you pour that in a bread bowl. Yes, I've had minestrone soup before. I like French onion as well, yeah. Clams taste like snot. Get out of here. I'm with you on the Kong train, Paul. TJ will see the error of his ways. Good episode, by the way. I was very entertained. I'm glad. Yeah, YouTube actually sent out notifications relatively quickly today, it seems.
Well, we'll fuck up your episode last night.
Maybe that's their way of saying sorry, you know?
Yeah.
Like, we done fucked up your episode last night, but...
Dude, it's like you can't even watch trailers. It's like, why would you protect a trailer?
It's counterproductive. Like, you want people... Well, here's why. Because they don't want people doing what we do to trailers.
And shitting on them.
Right. They don't want people to criticize anything about anything. They just want to put it out there and have it be undiscussed. And that's, you know, like, we're going to have to adapt to that, I guess.
No videos.
Yep. I mean,
or slideshow videos.
Yeah, I don't know how else to fucking do it. Like, we're going to have to completely, especially if we're doing these live shows, almost completely cut, like, non-news videos out.
And even news videos are iffy, too. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't gotten dinged. We've gotten demonetized or whatever for Like that type of shit doesn't matter anymore. We can play around that because we're not monetized anyway. We're getting like 15 cents of YouTube Red or whatever the fuck for an episode. So fuck it. If they want to take that and give it to some fucking person who originally posted the video, I'm fine with that. But this whole like we're taking your fucking shit down, it's like, I don't know. Like, well, how do you dance around that? You don't, other than just not showing fucking videos. Write a description of the trailer and your reaction as a message in Morse code. Yeah. Oh yeah, dude, when we show something that like sometimes it'll be like a 10-second part of a 2-hour show, and we'll show a video and then talk about that part of the video. That little 5-10 seconds worth of video will get all of the monetization from that 2-hour show. That's how it works. Recreate the trailer with crayon on a flip book. Same thing, basically. Well, aloha, Jason. You survived the flight, eh? Aloha, hoy, farewell to thee. Yeah. Oh yeah, we just got to play-by-play all the videos. So now a guy's standing there. There's 2 other guys standing around him. Oh, he decked them both and knocked them both out. That's crazy. You guys should have seen that shit, man. He decked them both and knocked them both out, bro. Basil, bacon, tomato soup. I mean, yeah. Dude, I love soup. I don't understand what people's problems. Dude, don't ask about fucking the Snyder Cut, dude. This is not the place, dude. When have I personally or organically mentioned the Snyder Cut once? Without it being answering, have you seen the Snyder Cut? The answer is no. The answer is I won't see the Snyder Cut. And from this point forward, anybody that asks about the Snyder Cut is going to get their own version of the Snyder Cut when I cut them out of the stream. I don't know who fucking Movie Bob is, so there you go. Sorry I have no answers to either of your questions. I won't be watching the Snyder Cut, and I have no fucking clue who Movie Bob is. So there you go. Paul, TJ said you're into Foley. Could you elaborate? I just think that Foley is really interesting. Like the art of making sound effects for movies. So like most movies when they're first recorded are vocals only, and all of that, of course, has to be cleaned up in post. And then a Foley artist will come in and create the footsteps, the sound of somebody's fabric being rustled when somebody grabs their shirt, the sound of a punch landing, all of the little sound effects that they can't mic up and get in the original cut, you know what I mean, are created by a person or a team of people behind the scenes. And so we've done a couple of shows about where we've talked about Foley. Well, one that you guys have seen where we talked about Foley, and there's another in the pipeline where we discuss Foley. And it's just a personal interest of mine. I find it to be a really interesting and super important behind the scenes job of creating film. Never knew that it was called Foley. Yeah. It's not really ambient sound. It's more front-facing sound and ambiance. Like Foley artists are responsible for ambiance and the direct sound of a punch landing on a face, a car crash happening, glass breaking, a person's arm being snapped, whatever the fuck is happening in the movie. If you're hearing it, a Foley artist created that sound effect. Dude, Kong freaking slaps the crap out of that lizard. Give the beast a giant Urumi and we'll see what's what. Yep. I found The Sopranos to be one of the hardest shows to binge watch because I would miss and constantly have to look up stuff and miss meanings. Really? Why? Like I like, especially binging it. Like I could understand if you were watching it like how it used to come out, like once every 2 weeks or whatever. You might have to like go back and find out what happened. But if you're binging The Sopranos, like how do you get confused? The narrative line through The Sopranos is, with the exception of a couple of places where it's intentionally fuzzy, is pretty fucking strong and pretty easy to understand.
Yeah, there's time jumps, but they're not horrible.
Right. I mean, like, you have to understand, like, this show was on for something like 6 years.
Probably longer. Probably more like 8 years.
Right.
Or something.
And so there are these huge time jumps at the beginning of each season and sometimes mid-season where, but, you can infer what's happened. Like,
They
that's...
got the recaps.
Right. That's never like been a problem with me. The time jumps are a little bit jarring, but as soon as you settle into the fact, like, it takes me like 3 or 4 seconds when I'm watching something to go, oh, okay, a bunch of time has passed. Now Chris is married and their kid is 1 year old or whatever. Okay, a year has passed. They've got really good context clues to show you how much time has passed between one episode and the last. So that's the only confusing thing that I could see happening about The Sopranos, other than the fact that it gets very esoteric sometimes and goes into these kind of dream states, fantasy states for some of the characters. But I don't know. Those are always explained pretty quickly after they're over. I don't know. I find it to be a pretty easy show to follow. Not necessarily an easy show to dig all of the references out of, though. It's a very referential show. Tony is constantly watching TV and movies and old movies, and TV and old movies factor huge into The Sopranos. And each one of those films that is chosen and the scenes that are chosen for those films are deliberately chosen to add something to the narrative. So, for example, we were watching an episode the other night where Tony walks in on AJ, who is depressed. And AJ's just flipping through the channels in the home theater, and Tony tells him to stop on a John Wayne movie. I can't remember the name of the movie, but he's a firefighter in it. And it set a backdrop for his entire talk with AJ of a building burning down, which, if you watch what happens to AJ as a result of his father's advice, hey, go hang with your friends, it's basically AJ being fully introduced to a life of crime. And so that picture of a raging inferno behind them while they have this very innocuous father-son conversation about how, like, you need to get off your ass and quit being depressed, go out, get some girls, hang out with your friends, is set to the backdrop of this raging inferno on the screen behind them. Presaging the fact that Tony's, honestly quite innocent fucking attempt to be a father to AJ just pushes him further towards being like him. And there are so many of those little moments in The Sopranos that I can't even count them. So it's a very dense show for people that want to watch with that in mind.
Yeah, like Slow Loris, like Paul will sometimes watch 2 things at once.
Yeah, I don't. I can't. I can't stay interested in 2 shows at once. I can't bounce back and forth.
I mean, like, you'll watch Twitch and watch a movie at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
He's talking about, like, he can't focus on something too long just on the TV in general. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, that depends. Like, sometimes I'm just in the mood where I want to be bombarded. Like, I go through these times where it really helps for me to be bombarded with multiple different streams of, like, media and just effect. So I'll sit and I'll turn on Twitch, and then I'll put on a movie, and I'll play a video game. And I'll listen to all three of those things at once sometimes. Like, I'll have a movie going, I'll have Twitch going, maybe muted, but I'll kind of look over at it sometimes, have the movie going, and be playing a video game. And somehow that bombardment of different media helps my brain to, like, I think it just plays into my natural proclivity to, like, for my brain to be all over the place, and it gives my brain 2 or 3 threads to follow that aren't like, the world's ending, oh, I suck, oh, fuck, I'm gonna fail, I'm gonna blah, blah, blah. You know, like, when I feel that way, I bombard myself sometimes with tons and tons of different media. Music, movies, video games. I've had people walk in on me while I'm doing it, and they're like, how can you even pay attention to one of those things? And the answer is, I don't really. Like, I do, but I don't. Like, I tune in and out of each one, like, as I feel like it. And I keep cycling through them. I'll hear something interesting on the movie, pause the game, look at something on the movie for a few minutes, and go back to the game. Then I'll look over at the Twitch window, and I'll see somebody making a big play, and I'll crank that up, and I'll watch that for a second, and then back to the game, and then, you know what I mean? Sometimes just playing the game and listening to it in the background. Oftentimes I'll pick a movie that's, like, really familiar to me, so that the narrative is something that I can follow without following it exactly, so that when different parts of the movie come up that I remember liking, I can fucking kind of, like, tune into that. But I never mute the other shit. I'm able to pick out those distinct kind of, like, audio signals and tune into one at a time.
Well, it's like when you're surrounded by people, you have this habit of wanting to zero in on every conversation for a second.
Yeah, that's like I think it's a social anxiety symptom or something. I've heard other people talk about that, like, where if I'm in a big room filled with people and there's a bunch of conversations going on, it kind of drives me nuts, because I will try and tune in. And it's not like I'm trying to be metiche or whatever. I'm not trying to eavesdrop. It's just like I feel like I'm this impetus to try and tune in on single conversations, and it drives me a little nuts in public places sometimes. What's up, Paul? What up, Jawan?
I got away with a head kiss that time.
You did, you did. She got it. You let your mama give a head kiss.
Dude, you were tackled last night. You had Cricket and Dynor on your lap.
Yep. I got dog piled and cat piled last night.
And then you got all itchy.
Yeah. Cricket was sitting on my lap. Dynor was on the other side of my lap. Both these boys just curled up and having a good old time while I watched a really interesting movie, actually. A movie that I hadn't seen before. I just kind of landed on it because it looked interesting, and I saw that it was a Oliver Stone film. And it was one of the few Oliver Stone movies that I hadn't seen, called Talk Radio, which was a really interesting film to watch as a dude that does what I do for a living. It's about a guy who bloviates to people and kind of slowly comes to grips with the fact that he's just, I guess, part of the problem. I don't know.
Enabling the worst hate against him.
Right. Like, he's one of these, like, shock jock type of guys who takes callers, and the callers say edgy shit, and then he's always got, like, a snappy comeback for them. But he realizes as he's going along that he's broadcasting that shit to people. He's creating the environment in which these people that are hateful are empowered by his show. And people that are psychologically, like he deals with the fact that he's dealing with people who are psychologically unstable as well. Like, he has this crazy caller come in against the advice of all of his team. You know, he's like, no, come on down, kid. We'll let you in the studio. And the kid ends up being obviously, like, unstable, and it's just it was a really interesting film for me to just land on and watch, because I felt like it was talking to me. You know what I mean? I felt like I was at times looking at myself up there on the screen and what I do for a living. He has a really interesting monologue at the end of it that I would love to learn about how he hates his audience and how, every last person in his fucking audience, and obviously I don't hate my audience, but it's the way that he deals with what he's created.
Every hater is someone that can't live without him.
Right.
They're glued to him no matter how much hate they spew about him.
Right. It was just such a fucking interesting, cerebral film. Very dialogue heavy, which I love in a film. And basically focuses on 2 radio shows. That's what the movie is about. It's like 2 nights of radio shows for this big Houston disc jockey who's about to go national. That's basically the setup for it. And of course, it's filled to the brim with Oliver Stone's typical kind of political sense and paranoid kind of movie making style. So it's got some great shots in it. I don't know how I've never seen the film.
Very Howard Stern-esque is just like the template of the character.
Yeah.
Not like just saying this is Howard Stern, but just very based on that template.
Yeah. And it's not that I hate you guys. Like, I didn't want to... It's called Talk Radio. It's an Oliver Stone film. You should watch it. It's on Amazon Prime right now for free. I think till April 1st. I think it's going away on April 1st. So if you want to watch it, check it out now. But yeah, it's not that I hate my audience. That's not what I took away from it. It was this feeling that he gets of being exhausted by the fact that nobody calls to... Everybody that calls hates him. And so he gets into this very narcissistic place of like, the people that hate me can't get enough of me. Like, you say you hate me, but the truth of the matter is you fucking can't live without me. Because I say the things that you can't say. Because I'm here doing the things that you can't do. And blah, blah, blah. And he goes on this fucking incredibly, amazingly narcissistic rant against his audience. But it's really him coming to grips with the hate parade that he's created for himself. He knows deep down that his personality of being constantly acerbic and constantly inviting all of this negativity into his life is why it's here. Crazy, crazy movie. Crazy movie, especially for me. Like, I went to bed last night with just like, I'm gonna pause and think about this tomorrow. What movie was it again? Again, what movie was it? I just said like 5 fucking seconds. I'm a business guy. I have to talk to people sometimes. I told you I was coming back, but nobody listens. There's only 2 people that sat here. 2. If I say I'm coming back, I'm coming back. It's the way it goes. Sometimes I gotta take a business phone call. Business happens. I'm a businessman. And de temps en temps, something comes up. Nice pin on the beanie. You like that? This is Cold War the hat, dude. It's the USS Batfish from Muskogee, Oklahoma. And then, of course, the old hammer and sickle. Cold War the hat. These are gifts from my friend Rodney, who is a world traveler. He got me some crazy shit. I'll show you guys. I'll go grab it. Good stuff. Cool stuff, honestly. Let's see. Ooh. In addition to the beanie and the cool pin, he got me a yarmulke straight from Jerusalem. This is a yarmulke he bought in Jerusalem. It's got, you know, the Jerusalem. I don't know what that is. Is that Aramaic? I don't know what the fuck it is. So he got me that. What else did he get me? He got me this really old Russian money. Like, I don't even want to really take it out of the bag. But you can see, got Vladimir Lenin on it. Let me see if I can make out a date. It's all in Russian. I'm not going to be able to make out a date. But this is Soviet era money. So he got me like, it looks like a few bills. I'll take them out very carefully and flip through them. I don't know if they're all the same. They are. 10 ruble notes from Soviet times. Pretty cool. Pretty neat. And then, what else did he get me in here? So a nice little box. This is one I don't want to unfold all the way. This is a World War II era map of the Soviet Union. So this was printed in 1944 and is a very detailed map, if you unfold it, of the Soviet Union, which I think I'm going to try and get framed and put up on my wall somewhere because it's just too cool. It's a huge map, like a very super detailed map from the World War II era. Oh, and then he got me, these are some Soviet era coins as well. I haven't really looked at these yet. Let me pop these bad boys out there. Oh yeah. 1989. It's got the CCCP, well, just like my pin. 89, right before the fall of the Soviet Union. This one's 1986. This one's 1980. And this one's very tiny. It's like a penny. Look at this shit. How tiny that is. I can't hardly read what's on this one. It's so small. I can see the hammer and sickle, the CCCP. This is like a 1 penny. Pretty neat shit. My rubles. My fight money. Where did my other ruble go? I dropped a ruble. There it is. Come here, ruble. Can you die from laughter? I don't know, probably. What a way to go, though, huh? And he got me a laser pointer, too. Like a high-powered, illegal in the United States laser pointer. Pew! Pew! You guys can't see it because it's a laser. Pew! Never doubted that Paul would return. You shouldn't have. I told you I was coming back. Cool stuff. Guess I can take my yarmulke off now as well. Only 70 people. Well, that's because I left for like 15 minutes. I had to take a phone call. Paul had to take a phone call. Paul, is it odd to say rad and gnarly in the era of dope? No. I mean, I still every once in a while will say something's rad, although it's almost out of my vocabulary now and it's been replaced by dope. But I don't think it's weird. Like, you might bring it back, dude. Rad could come back. Rad, rad, rad. Oh, you guys got to wait again. I got to check again on something. Yeah, dude, I got a phone call from the arbiter of all things rad. Just going to be a busy day today. I'm just going to be a busy bee today. That's just the way it's going to be. Why? Slowly but surely doing away with all of the non-believers in here. We live in a society, don't we, Batman? Don't we, Batman? Or do we get the Flavor Aid? You don't get no Flavor Aid, boy. Why is the Joker so bad? Because Jared Leto. Jared Leto. He's the one. God damn it. Woo! Chelsea in the house. Chelsea in the house. Quiet as a mouse. Quiet as a mouth. Ooh. Dude, this weed has a lot of that purple nurple in it. You know what that means? This is some indica couch. Ooh, it's purpley. Purpley weed. That's a good way to start the day. You have the same Tenacious D shirt? Cool. The Rise of the Phoenix promotional shirt. I got this because I used to have a friend that worked at a record store. He met Kyle Gass. Kyle Gass came and played at the record store and was, selling these t-shirts and shit at the merch table. Chelsea gonna Chels. Yeah. That's what I meant, dude. Chelsea's quiet till quiet is no longer working. And then when quiet's no longer working, Chelsea's not quiet anymore. But she prefers quiet. I tend to agree, even though I'm a loud fuck. Hey, Paul, remember me? Sour Skittles. The commercial was hilarious, Paul. I'm glad you liked it. I will give you $5 to be quiet for 60 seconds. I'll take your $5 and then blab for the rest of the show. Thanks, though. Yeah, I don't do stunts for money. So I'll take your $5, though. I appreciate that. The funny thing is, I'm glad people like my Biden impersonation, but I think it's not great. I think I've got Biden's cadence down okay. Excuse me. But I don't think I sound much like Biden. But as long as people are he-ing at it, I'm happy with it. You can make him sound a bit older. Yeah, I mean, that's hard to do. Biden's Biden impersonation isn't great either. True. True. Thanks for the $2, Advanced Ants. Appreciate it. It's not perfect, which makes it perfect. Text Joe to 030. You know the thing, Jack. You can't age your vocal cords. I mean, you can. I could talk a little. I could try and put a little old man into his voice. Hey, everybody. It's me. You know, but it just doesn't. It ends up not sound. It sounds less like him when I try and do that. So I just do what I gotta do. It's more of a John Wayne thing. Hello, people. This is America. Back in Scranton, my daddy used to tell me, Joey, somebody ever talks about your mother, you punch them in the mouth. You know, it's like almost a John Wayne thing. I wish he had a mic on when he stumbled up the stairs. Oh, yeah, that would have been great. To be fair, Joe's probably trying to sound like John Wayne in order to be more appealing to the working man. Listen here, Pilgrim. Listen here, Fat. Listen here, Fat. Where does the fat thing come from? He was arguing during a rally with somebody who was not on the vote for Joe team, and like a chubby dude stood up in the audience and was calling him out about, you know, corruption and whatnot. I can't even remember what the topic was. I think it was like the Hunter Biden thing. And at one point, they were arguing back and forth, and Joe Biden said, "Now listen, Fat." Just came out like that. Now listen, Fat. And then he challenged the guy to like a push-up contest. Look, Fat, here's the deal, Fat. Trump had the TP on his shoe. Biden stumbled up the stairs. Seems like the prezos are having trouble getting onto planes. Yeah, well, they're all fucking ancient. They're all fucking ancient. We haven't elected like a president that wasn't falling apart physically from just old age and decrepitude since Obama. Like our last two fucking presidents have been literal old men. Like literal ancient old rocking chair men. Like a guy Joe Biden's age should be sitting in a rocking chair on a porch smoking a meerschaum pipe with his dentures out, you know what I mean? Just comfortable as fuck. But we're like propping up his old withered up corpse. Trump couldn't get down the stairs. Biden can't go up them. I know it's like we got a lot of other things on our plate, but I've been in Chelsea knows this. I've been harping on this for the longest time. We need an upper age limit for the fucking presidency, period. End the fucking statement. If there's a lower age limit for the presidency, which I agree with, I think somebody should have to have lived a little bit of life before they come fucking president of the United States. So I'm fine with the upper or the lower age limit on the presidency. But if we've got a lower age limit on the presidency, what about the upper? It is well known that old people start to lose it as they get older. They're not as quick. They tend to be more impulsive. They tend to be fucking like, you know, easily angered, easily frustrated. These are all just things that happen to people when they get that age, 70 something, 80 something. Those people should not be fucking sitting in the halls of power. Do you think 35 is a good age limit? I mean, I would be fine with it lowering to 30, to be honest with you. But I don't think 35 is completely and utterly unfair. Like, I think it's a decent number, but I think that the age range needs to be 35 or 30 to 65, and that's it. Like, 65 used to be the old forced corporate retirement age. Corporations used to literally take their CEOs and their big fucking bosses and force retirement on them at 65. Why? Because old people tend not to be as good at business. They tend to be forgetful. They tend to be impulsive. And it was their way of saying, hey, here's your golden parachute. Here's your gold watch. Go have your twilight years. And we're going to put somebody on that's brain isn't going rotten. And now it's like, dude, Biden could have been my grandpa's dad. I think. No, maybe not. But pretty close. Like, my grandpa died in his early 70s. And that was 20 years ago. So I guess my grandpa probably would have been 90 or something. He and Joe could have been fucking friends. They could have been school buddies. Old army buddies or some shit. It's fucking ridiculous. If you're an accountant, you still have to retire early, thanks. So an accountant needs to be mentally fit, but the president, I mean, that depends on the partnership agreement for the accountancy corporation that you're talking about. Like, there's no forced retirement age in accountancy. There's just a tradition of accountants retiring at a certain age. But you'll just have to trust me when I say that sometimes accountants work well beyond 65. Source, have accountants in my family. The old people that run this country want another diaper pooper in charge. Yeah, you're probably right. Remember Alzheimer's meds in Congress. Yes. Yes. That's what I'm talking about, man. There needs to be an upper age limit for public service at the national or state level, period. If somebody wants to elect an 80-year-old mayor for their little podunk town, I don't think that needs to be fucked with. But I'm talking about, like, at the state, national level, 65. You can't be any older than 65. We've got a billion other things that are more important than this, but I'm telling you, man, the fucking gerontocracy that we're building in America is problematic. To say the least, to put it mildly. These people are fucking ancient, bro. Ancient. It's annoying how presidents don't die like they used to. They all live to be like 99 now because they get all the good health care that we don't get. They've got unfettered access to the best health care in the fucking world. Whereas we eat the scraps. politics keeps the country in the past, which doesn't help for a better America in its future. Gotta agree, Tommy. How you doing, buddy? I miss you, bro. It's been too long since we've gotten to give each other a big fucking hug. I hope things are going well for you. I really do. Glad to hear it, Tommy. Glad to hear it. Chat seems more tame than usual today. I don't know what the deal was. Maybe it's because I took a long, like I had a phone call earlier and I had to take a long phone call. And maybe like all the shit trolls left. How am I? I'm doing okay, man. Thanks for asking. I'm doing okay. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. You know, ups and downs, strikes and gutters and all that shit. But I'm moving forward. I'm plowing forward, Tommy. I'm doing what I do. I'm doing my best. I ask you guys for some advice for once. Not necessarily advice, just musings. And I'm going to try and be really careful about how I put this. Have you guys ever had a friend that's just given up on themselves? Does that question make sense? They've just given up on themselves. And you, of course, being their friend and you love them, you see all of this wonderful stuff inside of them. And they see nothing. And they've given up on even trying. They've just resigned themselves to die, basically. Not necessarily suicidally, but just, this is where I am, and this is where I'll always be, and that's that. I'm not trying to call anybody out, but if you are that, or if you have a friend like that, what do you do? I mean, I know that the answer is probably there's really nothing you can do, but is there something you can do? Because I have a friend like this, and my heart goes out to this friend, and I know this friend. I've known this friend. And I feel like that this friend has just given up on themselves. It's not Jason. Don't worry about who it is. It's not a person that you guys know. I've been that friend. I can only speak for me, but it took my closest friends repeatedly pointing out to me all I have to offer and not giving up on me and sticking with me when it seemed I was done. How do you do that when a person clams up when you try to do that? Just show up. Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right. Is it that they won't talk? Kind of, yeah. It's like when I try and broach the subject with them, they shut it down. And not in a like not in a harsh way, just like, no, 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 no. You know, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. And it's like, you're not fine. This is a person I've known since I was a young man, a kid. One of the most talented and amazing people that I've ever met in my life. What would you tell yourself if the roles reversed? I don't even know what I would be if the roles were reversed. Not my story to tell, but let's just say that this person has been through the fucking ringer in their life. I've been through my own version of it. Yeah, I've given up on myself before. I've been in that position, and I'm telling you, there wasn't a single person that could have come to me and told me any different. I had friends try to in their own ways. People that I trusted try to come to me, and I did the same shit. I'm fine. I'm okay. Don't worry about it. I'm fine. I'm good. I'm fine. I don't know. Strange topic to bring up when I can't give more context, but it's just, it's been on my mind. No, I mean, that was in my 30s. I would say my early 30s, I had fully given up on myself. I had resigned myself to what was there in my life and nothing more. True, Paul. Sometimes there's nothing anyone can say to make things seem right. I think you have to have something in you that drives you to do better. Yeah. Yeah, it's Sammy the Skunk. How'd you guess, Brianna? Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough question. And, I in the past, and it's something that I worked on in therapy, have had something like a little bit of a savior complex with people, where it's like I feel like I can solve this person's inner drama if I just love them enough, talk to them enough. And you guys are absolutely right. Like you might be a good support system for a person in that position, but that has to come from within themselves. The ultimate desire to change and be better has to come somewhere from within them. That's a hard-won lesson. Yeah, they have a pet. I distantly know someone who needs mental help, but I don't know them enough to help. When I'm at my lowest, I feel like I'm the only one that can fix it myself, but getting genuine compliments from people who care can show me things that I can no longer see about myself. That's a good point, Chels. It's just, I'm trying to think of how to explain this. It's hard with this person that I'm talking about because they want to heap praise on me and the things that I'm doing in my life. And that feels good. It's good to have friends that build you up. And they will do that. Oh man, you're doing so great. What you've got going on is so awesome. I love seeing you be able to do something that you love for a living. But when you try and throw something like that back, it's, when you like when I try and point out that light that I see in this person and always have seen in this person since the fucking 6th grade. Don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it. Don't want to do it. Don't want to do it. I have told them how much they mean to me, yes. That comment is self-deprecation hidden under a compliment. It comes off that way. You might be right, George Costanza, shockingly. When you're unhappy with yourself, compliments can feel like reminders of failure. Yeah. I don't know, man. It just sucks to, as a friend, to be trapped. I've had so many. See, this is where I feel like I've been a fortunate person in my life. I've had so many people at different times in my life who loved me enough to come to me and talk to me when I was feeling down. And through talk therapy, I've learned to accept that. When I was a younger man, I used to just blow it off. But through sitting in therapy, I've learned to open up to the people that I trust and that I know that love me and who I love. A little bit, at the very least. And I've been so fortunate to have such good friends that'll do that. And I don't know if I have given that back to a lot of my friends. I feel like I kind of haven't. And this is probably just a way of me, adding a little guilt in my life to the way that this other person's life has shaken out and how they feel about it. I have no control over that shit. But see, I went through a period where I was that for people. And I got so fucking used and abused and used up and pushed that I kind of stopped making myself available in that way in order to guard myself against that shit again. I was a person that gave a little too much, cared a little too much, sacrificed a little too much, showed up a little too much, and I became a crutch for people in my life. And that's not good. But it's also not good for me to place myself in this fucking box where I don't make myself available in that way to anybody. Just keep reaching out. See, this is so hard. This is so hard for me. Just keep thinking about them and reaching out. They don't sound like one of those friends that did that. I have a fucking hang up, dude. It's kind of an ironic name for it, too. A hang up. I have a hang up with communication with people, and I don't understand it. I feel I've tried to dig into this, and I'll try and dig into it with you guys too, but I'm warning you, I don't fully understand this about myself. I really don't. But I have this hang up about nonverbal communication. Like texting. I hate it. I hate texting people. I feel like I can never get out what I want to get out in a text. I'm long-winded, and I do so much better one-on-one, face-to-face talking to people than I do, because for me, no subject is unbroachable when I'm face-to-face with a person. If I can look a person in the eye and they can look me in the eye if they so choose, that connection makes it very easy for me to be open and honest and talk with people. But I cannot do this fucking text message shit. And I don't know. I fucking hate it, because I know that that is how people communicate now, like largely. A lot of tone is lost too. Certain types of conversations really need to be in person. See, for me, I feel like almost all substantive conversations need to take place that way. And I feel like it's an old mode of communication in a world that moves way faster than I'm made the move. You know what I mean? I really do feel like a boomer when it comes to this shit, because context and tone and shit, it's just so lost in non-verbal, non-face-to-face communication. It's so easy to be misunderstood. It's so easy to misunderstand. It's so easy to come off callous when you're not trying to. It's so easy to come off, I never developed the ability to be genuine in that environment. And I spent a lot of time doing it. Like, it's not like I can claim that I have no history with it. I used to, back in the day when chat rooms were a thing, I was all up in them motherfuckers. Back in the day when, forums were a thing, I was a huge forum person. Made tons of friends through the forum that I still talk to and keep in touch with, today. And this is like 20 years ago. You know what I mean? And so it's not like I can't have some sort of a fucking presence in that. It's just that this particular mode of conversation that we're talking about, texting, DMing, I'm horrible at emojis because I don't, you know what I mean? I understand what they're for, but I don't know which ones to pick. Like, I really am a boomer when it comes to that. I didn't come from emoji town, you know what I mean? A smiling dude, a fucking laughing dude, a dude that's crying laughing, a dude that's rolling around and crying laughing, a flame of, it's all just such, I don't. Oh yeah, dude, I avoid it. Like, I'll get a message from somebody, and like, I have to, like, in my business, I don't ignore my messages. If I see a fucking text from TJ, now sometimes I don't catch them because I'm not leashed to my phone like I should be, but like, I never intentionally ignore a business fucking thing. But yeah, there are times when people text me and I see, you've got a text from so-and-so, and I'm just like, I don't even want to look. I'm not going to look. I'll get a DM and I'll be like, I don't even want to know what's in there. I don't want to look. I don't want to get started on this. That's a good point. The age of texting and instant messages has also increased my impatience. Knowing someone can respond almost immediately and they take too long to respond has sent me into a rage sometimes. Hate it. Yeah. And see, I'm on the other end of that. I didn't grow up in a time where you were at the beck and call of everybody in the world. You know what I mean? If somebody wanted to get a hold of you, they called you on the phone. And if you didn't feel like answering the phone, well, they could leave a message. And you check the messages at your leisure and you call back the people that you want to. And that's the way it worked. Or you wrote a letter. In my childhood, that's how people got a hold of one another. And that felt right. That felt right to me. This, like, I can text you at any time of the day or night and you're supposed to get right back to me shit. I don't fucking function that way. I'm sorry. There are times where I'm not looking to have a conversation, even a quick one. You know what I mean? I got other shit going on. And the fact that this modern time or whatever has imposed upon us this instant contact rule, this unspoken instant contact rule, I hate that shit. Most people understand, but sometimes people don't. Because with me, depending, it can come in the form of like me missing a couple of texts, or it can come in the form of me ghosting you for like 2 months. And see, I'm fine when people do that shit to me because I function that way. But when I do that shit to other people, that comes off as like aggressive. Tommy texted me a year ago and you're still waiting for a reply? Jesus Christ. See what I mean? Do you see what I mean? Bad communication skills in the modern age. That's what I've got. Well, I'm definitely like that. I definitely am bad at reaching out to people and bad at responding to people who reach out to me. And it's a personal fucking issue that I probably ought to work on, to be frank, because I know it comes off as shitty. I don't mean it to. But it's almost like I feel like I'm keeping some form of autonomy over my time and what I do by doing it. And it ends up, it's lost me friends. Like, I won't even lie, it's lost me really close people in my life. And it's just like, well, you know. Paul getting ready for a lawsuit for emotional damages caused by ghosting, yeah. I don't know how that would turn out, but, you know, there's a few people that could conceivably sue me for ghosting. You know what I mean? It's like... And it definitely, like, credibly, emotionally hurt those people, too, you know? And that sucks. I hate that. I don't like that. I don't like being hurtful to people. I know that sounds weird coming from me. Is George not a troll now? I don't know. I'm liking George recently. He's been coming out of his shell. Maybe George grew up. Maybe when George started, George was like 19, and now George is like 22, you know? And he's like, oh, fuck, the world happened. What the fuck am I going to do? He's got a little insight now. I like George. I always did. Definitely some irony in that statement, yeah. I realize it. Started at 17 and you're 20. Well, that explains a lot. I don't know if George Costanza is trans. I don't think George Costanza has given much personal information about themselves. Right. Well, yeah, I'm not like that. Like, if I need to be in, like, okay. So if I'm in cahoots with somebody on something and it's like, hey, we're going to meet today, you're going to pick me up, blah, blah, blah. I'm good at text. Like, I can text contextually in that situation. I'm not like, I'm not going to respond. Like, no, if I've got something going on where we've got plans together, I'm picking you up and you text me like, hey, how you doing? You on your way? I'll be like, yeah, I'm on my way. I'll be there in like 10 minutes, you know, or whatever the fuck. I don't got a problem with that. That is functional to me. It's just this, like, I'm reaching out to you in the middle of the night via a text. Shit. Then I'm just like, I talked a little bit about Boulder last night when it was breaking news. Thanks, Town Crier. Yeah, it has been interesting. I mean, George still trolls for sure. I don't know what it is about George. George has been like a long time troll here. He's been banned before, but I've always been more accepting and lenient with George, and I think the Spectres are too than other trolls, and I don't know what it is. George is an interesting little Highdeology figure for sure. Frequenter of the chat. He's a charming troll. Yeah, I think he picked the right troll persona. You know, George Costanza was kind of a troll as well. I'm lenient with him because he's a regular. Yeah, you know, he's a Highdeologite for sure. There ain't no denying it. You never know the day's thing not to say. Well, I mean, you're another long-time poster, Squid. So I recognize you almost immediately. All of you have little characters based on your avatars. You know, I see a George Costanza post. I don't even have to read the name because I see his stupid, grinning, fucking bald-headed cue ball face. I see Squid Diddley, and, you know, I remember that face, so it's easy to recognize Squid Diddley. I see Marshall Manson pop in, and I don't even have to see that it's Marshall. I don't have to read the name. I just know it's him, you know. Jawan's the same way. He's had the same fucking PFP forever. And I don't even have to read Jawan Hart to know that Jawan just said something, you know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, if you change your PFP, it's one thing. I'm just telling you how my old boomer brain deals with shit, you know what I mean? Yep, Asbestos Fingers is another one. You know, I always see his PFP. I can't even really see what it is, but the geometric fucking shapes that I can see in it, Duck always has the same thing, yeah. Abby Danger always has the fucking pentagram. Just putting up fences again and thought you'd pop in. How I'm doing. Yeah, well, have fun putting up fences. That sounds like hard but rewarding work. I feel like a more secure Squid now. Happy I did not take another pic of myself. I will probably keep this one. Well, do whatever you want. Didn't you have to wait 2 weeks before they'd show a season finale episode? Yes. I'm nervous as fuck about my surgery. Which one do you have coming up, Pranav? Oh, you're the gynecomastia surgery. You're gonna be fine, bro. I'm telling you what, if it goes anything like mine, which it probably will, you're gonna be on a fucking, when you wake up, you're gonna get a button for morphine. And you're gonna get a nice hefty pain pill, and your recovery is not gonna be as hard as you think. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you it's an easy surgery or whatever the fuck, but you know, you'll have pain management solutions through it, and you'll feel better at the end of it. They don't give as many morphine buttons. Yeah, dude, I was a fucking like I got the surgery when I was 13 or 12. I can't remember. And I got the fucking button. They told me if you're in pain, just press this button, and I immediately like took it from them and was like, uh. No, you'll be all right, Pranav. It's a rough surgery. It'll leave you pretty fucking sore, but you'll be okay. It was not long before I was up and around and taking care of myself again. What happens if you press it too many times? They have it dosed out, so a lot of times they give it to people for the psychosomatic idea that every time they push it, they get a dose. But they've got it all dosed out to where you're not going to overdose yourself. You're not going to give yourself a bunch of, you know. They're probably kicking me out right after, and the next day I get my second COVID shot, so that's going to be fun too. Oof. Yeah, can you do that? Will they give you a COVID shot if you're recently out of surgery? That doesn't sound... I mean, I'm not saying they won't. It just sounds sketch. Like, do they want to, like, test your immune system right after you've had your fucking chest opened up? Got the first one right after my vasectomy. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, it was I was in and out. They didn't keep me all day. They kept me there till the anesthesia wore off. They let my mom come in. I was able to walk out, or get out of bed and get in the wheelchair and then walk to the car and get in the car and everything. So you're not going to be in so much pain you can't move. But it's a pretty rough surgery nonetheless. Vasectomies, dude. I've been under only once and it was magical. Oh yeah, I've been under a bunch of times, and it is magic. I kind of actually like the process because I've been through it so many times. It's like they put the mask on your face and they tell you to count backwards from 10, and you know that means it started, and you go 10, 9, 8, 7, and then you wake up on the table. All doped up, and hours have passed, and you have no idea where you are for a second. It's pretty cool. It's like time travel, yeah. I've never had a dream where I was under the knife, no. Oof. I guess you're hard to keep under there, squids. Oh, shit. Stretching time. Yeah, look at those trees, man. Ain't they beautiful? Blowing in the wind like that. Sound is awesome too. I don't have leaves on trees yet. Well, these are evergreen trees. These are actually eucalyptus trees, so they're green year round. It is a nice day here. It's got, the breeze feels great. I mean, it's still brisk. Like, it's actually colder here than it's supposed to be. So it's still like you need a sweater and, you know, maybe a fucking beanie type of weather, but it's I don't know. It's a very chill day today. It's very pretty. Storming all day. Ugh. We've had a lot of that here, which is good, I guess, for the area. But there's a really pretty, can I show you guys a field across from my house? I want to show you guys this field of wildflowers that sprouted up 2 days ago, and I've been watching it, and it's so beautiful. I'm going to see if I can get you guys a good picture of it. I want to share it with somebody outside of my household, because me and Amelia have been enjoying looking at these bad boys. Look how beautiful this is. Just make sure I'm not gonna get nobody's car. It's across the street from me. Look at these wildflowers here. It's beautiful, aren't they? These sprouted up, like I said, 2 days ago. They're very pretty. I've got a number of little wildflower things happening in my own yard here. I'll show you guys before the yard guy comes. These little purple flowers, do you see them? That are popping up in the grass. There's a real big patch of them over here. I think they're real pretty. And then I've got these honeysuckles over here that came up. Well, there's a lot of baby's breath too. I think baby's breath is pretty, but it's just a very small white flower. So here's some baby's breath for you. Mixed in with some of those little purple flowers. You can see the little white baby's breath. And then got these little honeysuckle bells that came up here, and they're really flowering now. Really pretty. Very pretty. You're welcome for the flowers. I wanted to get them for posterity because, like I said, the lawn guy is coming to cut this back. Unfortunately, if I just left this to go, you know what I mean? Like, I would have, like, shit up to my shoulders. So it's got to be cut back. Dude is coming tomorrow morning to do that, so... I wanted to enjoy the little flowers and stuff before they get mowed on back. Putting a whole brisket on the smoker and making some badass brisket tacos. That sounds delicious. PNW is beautiful and all, but the South is also really pretty too. Catch me riding on doubles, shoot the wrong look, you in deep, deep trouble. Man, dude, this new joint that Marshall finished up recently, oh my God, dude. You guys are just not even ready. You're not even prepared. I think it's mean. I think the song is mean. Can't hear it yet. Hasn't dropped yet. Probably drop next week. Marshall is walking talent. I know. Preview? I mean, patrons got a little listen. Patrons got a little early leak, but it was before the Highdeology that I did over there. Hey, baby.
Still going?
Yeah. Yakking away. Hacking and whacking and smacking. I hope you will release it to Spotify. I think we're going to put all of them on Spotify once we've got a little album. Which, this song will be 3 songs in the bank. I mean, it's a slower process because it's a side thing for both he and I. Just like a fun side project that we're doing. But if we keep going at the pace that we're going, we'll have a little fucking album soon. So, Amelia, the only person that can say still going and not get banned. Yep. You got that. She's got full wife privileges. Honestly, given the amount of time that Marshall and I, like somebody said it can take a long time to write music or whatever the fuck. Marshall and I work pretty quickly together. Like Marshall throws me a beat, I start writing on it. It takes me 2-3 days of concentrated writing, possibly less, to write the basis of what I think I want to contribute to the song. I lay that down for Marshall. I let him listen to it, see if he thinks it's dope. If he does, I lay down some a cappella vocals for him to layer, and then he fucking produces. It's like, yeah, the first time that we worked together, Marshall sent me this trap beat that ended up becoming our first little song, Sake, together. And I wrote my contribution to that song in like 20 minutes. That was writing, obviously. And then I performed it for Marshall, and he liked it. And so I laid down the a cappella for him. So it's like, that song, the turnaround on that shit on both of our ends was incredibly quick. And given the amount of time that we actually sit down and concertedly work on this shit, you know, Marshall and I crank music pretty quick. Now Marshall's putting in the heavy lifting. He's producing, so. Do you know anything about music theory? Not really, no. If I were to write a song, it would be the most cheesy, bland lyrics anybody's ever heard. See, when it comes to like the rap stuff that I've been doing, the beat writes the song. That's genuinely how I feel. I hear the beat, and then all of a sudden lyrics start springing up in my head, and a rhythm springs up in my head, and I just write it down. And then all of a sudden I've got a rap song. A couple of days ago, I sent a preview to Chelsea. She gave me some feedback on an early cut, like a really preliminary cut of the song that's going to drop next week or so. Yeah. So Chelsea has heard as well. I feel like it's the dopest thing we've done yet. Can you write non-rap songs like Can You Sing? Yeah. I mean, I was in a band. I was in 2 bands, little garage band projects in my teens and early 20s. So yeah, I could do traditional songwriting too. Like I've done like you know, what you call it, karaoke streams with you guys. So singing, rapping is more about confidence and practice. Music theory really only helps in formal writing that requires it. I mean, whatever. I'd love to learn a little bit about it. I don't think it's like something that people shouldn't pursue, but I just haven't. Greeks versus Romans, who's better? Stupid question. Like better on like what's the metric? Better don't make any sense if there's no metric. Better at what? Better for what? Better for whom? You know what I mean? It's just a dumb question. Which is better, A or B? It's like the Pepsi challenge, but with Greeks and Romans. Who cares? Greeks better pitas, Roma better tomates. Sure, there you go. But you put that pita and that tomat together, and you got a little sandwich going. You know what I mean? See, why can't we all be friends? Why can't we take that pita and put all the other cultures into it and have a big fucking taco? Paul, do you write your lyrics to a melody solo, or does Marshall auto-tune you to the right notes? No, he doesn't have to. He doesn't auto-tune me at all. I write my whatever when I do the sing-songy stuff. I do it in the key of the song. He doesn't have to put me on note. Paul, you need a synthesizer? Why? Are you inspired by Huey Lewis at all? I can't help but be. Huey Lewis and the News, you know, no memes, no joking. That was my favorite shit when I was a little kid. And it brings, like, if I listen to the Huey Lewis and the News, like 4, and the album that followed it, it instantly takes me back to like a day at the beach with my family. Just playing in the sand, being on the road, knowing that I'm heading towards the beach. Huey Lewis blasting out of the speakers. It's just, he's one of like, Huey Lewis and the News is one of those bands that will always and forever engender really good, warm, cozy feelings in me. And so I can't help but love Huey Lewis and the News. And then so I can't help but be influenced by their presentation and shit. Like, I don't know how much of that comes out in songs. Dude, The Power of Love. The Heart of Rock and Roll was my favorite when I was a kid. It starts with a heartbeat. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, dude, The Heart of Rock and Roll. I Want a New Drug. If This Is It. Just tons of fucking great songs. Small World. Hip to Be Square, yeah. Sucks that Huey is deaf and can't tour anymore. Dude, I feel so privileged that I got to see Huey Lewis in the News, I think 5 or 6 times. Starting when I was a little kid, I got to see Huey at probably the peak of his career. I was like 6 years old, so it would have been 86. It's probably like the peak of Huey's career. Got to see a big show with him. Got called out by Huey because me and my mom and little sister made a "We Love You, Huey" sign, and he pointed at us, "I love you too." And we were like, "Woo!" We were all excited by that. And then I've seen Huey in various venues 5 other times, I think, if I count correctly. Maybe 4. Got to see him twice. Dude, always put on a badass show, am I right? Good times, get a fucking beer and watch Huey and just fucking have a good ass time. Yeah, I got to see the Deftones live once. I went to the Summer Sanitarium tour. I can't remember what year it was, early 2000s. And I got to see the Deftones. I always forget the lineup of bands. I talk about this show a lot because it was a really fucking awesome show. So I'll have to go through it in my mind. It was the Deftones, Mudvayne, Linkin Park, Limp Bizkit, and Metallica. Pretty fucking dope lineup. And the Deftones, right? So, yeah, I got to see the Deftones live. Loved it. They fucking rocked the fucking house. It got so pity. It was so I don't know when exactly White Pony came out, but it was, you can look it up. The Summer Sanitarium tour, it was in Candlestick Park in San Francisco. I guarantee you, if you type that in, you'll get the date for it and you'll see the lineup that I'm talking about. Mudvayne was totally overlooked. LD50 is like a super hard album. Super great. Dude, Mudvayne was great too. Oh yeah, dude. Be envious. Dude, the pit was so harsh during Mudvayne. 2 giant pits opened up during Mudvayne. There was a pit for every one of these. Linkin Park had a big fucking nasty pit. I'm not even gonna lie. But there were 2 separate storm pits. Me and my friend were right between the 2. Fucking dude, that was a badass concert. I'm not gonna lie. The first chunk of that was great, and then Limp Bizkit came out, and it kind of all went to shit. But I don't remember what year that was in. If I had to take a guess, I would say 2003, 2004. But that might be off. I saw Slipknot in concert right before my little one was born. Yeah, never got to see Slipknot. Paul, can you tell the Dreyfus show story in detail, pretty please? Sure. It's been a long time since I've talked about Dreyfus. Dreyfus is a band that I can't like send you guys to go listen to because, as far as I understand, the music is lost. There's a couple of guys I could reach out to that might have a Dreyfus CD that they could send me, so I could maybe get my hands on some Dreyfus. But Dreyfus was a local kind of hardcore metal rap kind of ish. Linkin Park ish is what I would compare them to, but they really weren't even comparable in my mind. So we were playing, I say we, the guys that I used to roadie for were playing a show in San Luis Obispo at this place called the Slow Brew that I believe is still there. It's right by the gum wall in San Luis Obispo. The Slow Brew, great local venue in San Luis Obispo. And San Luis Obispo, California has a really vibrant local music scene. And the guys that I was roadieing for were in a band called Spread Needle, and they were opening for Dreyfus, who was a huge local band, like huge in San Luis Obispo and the surrounding area, but had not broke out of that. But so many locals were packed out to come see Dreyfus. So it was a wild show. And we set up, got everybody all fucking set up on the stage. And, there was like a kind of a sparse crowd. Not totally sparse. There was quite a few people there. But the opening act, Spread Needle, that I helped set up for, we didn't play to a full house. As soon as they stopped and I got everything loaded back up into our van, right? We went back in because we had passes, so we were allowed to stay for Dreyfus. And the other guys in the band had heard Dreyfus before. I'd never heard them. I didn't even fucking know what to expect. When we walked back in from loading up our van, that place was ass to ass. Literally the entire town had showed up because Dreyfus was about to play. And I'm looking at, so we come in through the backstage door. We get a good place up front. You know what I mean? Because we got our passes and shit. So we flex on that. We get our good place right up front. We're like, fuck you, locals. Get out of the way. We got passes. We're the fucking opening band. Get out of the way. So we got right up in front, right? And I'm watching the setup, and I'm thinking, like, I'm looking at the dudes that are setting up. And I'm going, like, they must have, like, 2 or 3 roadies. That's cool. They didn't have any roadies. They didn't have anybody helping them. The dudes on stage were the dorkiest. Like, I'm not saying dorkiest, but they were like, they did not look like a band. The lead singer guy, the guy that I found out later was the lead singer guy, was a very small dude. Like, probably 5'4", max. The drummer was just big, lanky, dorky looking guy. The bass player was they were all just super average, dorky looking, nerdy guys. So when they set up and then picked up the instruments and people started fucking screaming, I was like, what? The whole fucking place erupted, including the dudes that were with me, because they were all jazzed to get to see Dreyfus, let alone open for them. So we're right up in front. Everybody's going fucking nuts, and these nerds are standing there. And I'm like, the only quiet person in the crowd, standing right up front, not knowing what to do. And I'll never forget it, because they had everything so fucking tight. This is why it's the best show I was ever at, because the energy was, I've never been at a show where the energy was like this. The guy leaned into the mic, the lead singer guy had his guitar, and he leans into the mic and he goes, once the crowd had died down a little bit, and he goes, we're Dreyfus, and this is what it sounds like when doves cry. And then literally the stage exploded. A wall of sound hit us all at once. They launched into this insane fucking song. It had lights. They had a light set up that fucking strobed them right when they started. And all of a sudden, the energy in this fucking place went, Bwah! The roof blew off this motherfucker and took me with it. I was entranced. Every song they played was better than the last. They played like this raucous hour-long set and then just walked off the stage. And I felt like I'd been fucking, like my life had been changed. It was so fucking insane. I've never been like I've seen some big places. I've been in some big arenas and seen some big shows. I felt that energy before. They had something that I've never seen on stage. The energy that poured off of their playing, their sound, their light show. Dude, they fucking rocked. Did they rock? They rocked so fucking hard. They almost blew the roof off of the slow brew. It was transcendent. I couldn't take my eyes off of them. Their playing was so good. Their music was so good. Ah. I've never heard of Galpa, no. That's what Guar did to me the first time. I love the energy of a live show. I really do. How did the album compare to their performance? It didn't. I mean, the songs on the album, as I remember, they were good. And I remember I bought their CD at the merch table that night. It's just one of those fucking CDs that I lost. And I have not been able to find it. I have not been able to find hide nor hair of them. This was like pre, bands being all over the internet days, so they're just kind of like lost to time. I'm sure if I went to San Luis Obispo and went to a music store there, they might have an old Dreyfus CD or something. I could call up a couple of the guys that were in that band. I still know them. I haven't talked to them in years. It'd be a weird conversation. Hey, you guys got a Dreyfus CD? What year was this? This would have been like 2004, 2005. First Dreyfus fan in the store in 20 years. They got to get the old man out of the back. Dreyfus? I haven't heard that name in nigh on 20 years. What do you want with a Dreyfus CD? I was actually at one of their shows. Oh, really? What genre were they? Hard rock? Like hard rock kind of. The prevalent sound at that time in metal was this kind of new metal sound, but I hesitate to call them new metal. They're like prog metal. It's the best way to put it. I really don't know how to classify them. I'm not a metalhead, but they were hard, energetic. I mean, just a fucking phenomenal live band. Bless you, big giant machine. Did you guys hear that machine fart?
That reminds me of Are You My Mother, the little picture book where they describe the big machine like gurgling.
Oh yeah, farting and buzzing. I remember that. That's like a sad book. But I guess it ends well because he finds his mom at the end. It's out there somewhere. Somebody's got a fucking Dreyfus CD. You know what I mean? It's just, like I said, the CD, the live performance is what I carry with me. Losing the CD sucks. I wish I could go back and listen to it and give myself more context, but I'm telling you, the fucking live show that these dudes put on was unreal. Absolutely unreal. The only assist that they had was a little lighting setup that they set up themselves and triggered themselves. So just strobes, colored lights at different points in the songs, all kind of programmed to go off at the right times. That's all they had. And in my mind, they blew away every other performer I've ever seen in an arena setting, who are sometimes aided by fucking giant multi-million-dollar laser setups and fucking sculptures. And, I've seen all that shit, not to downplay it. Like, I saw Tool on the Lateralis tour in a giant arena 6 rows back from the front on the floor. That was fucking insane. But I'm just telling you, Dreyfus was better. You know what I mean? Maybe not a better band, but they put on a fucking show that just was non-stop energy. Paul, I have the option to move to Houston or the Seattle area for work. Where should I go? Why would you ask me such a question? Like, you're really going to make a decision based on where I tell you to go? Dude, I never took part in any fucking wall of death and wouldn't. Fuck that shit. Yeah, go where the best work is and do your research. Don't ask a fucking stoner. Hey, stoner, where should I move? I totally think you should probably go to Houston, bro. Alright, man, far out. What the fuck is this?
Everyone has different needs.
Yeah. Make up your own goddamn fucking mind.
There's like a million sites where you can compare cost of living in cities and shit. It's like...
Indeedy do there is. Paul, find the Dreyfus CD, dude. All right, well, I'll see what I can do. Never. I'm not planning on launching an OnlyFans, unfortunately. That is, unless Mr. Naughty Priest meets the reserve, in which case he and my lawyer will have a discussion, and then the Naughty Priest OnlyFans will be launched, and he'll be the only one to access it. It'll be in
reserve.
I mean, that discussion is one that I don't have in front of the general public.
I see.
That's between him and my lawyer. And he's been in contact with my lawyer. He knows what the reserve is. I'll tell you in private, honey, but these plebs don't get to hear.
Right.
If Naughty Priest meets the reserve, but he'll be the only one allowed. It'll be an OnlyFans just for Naughty Priest, where he gets to see my little wiener and my butt, I guess, if that's what he wants. I'll look like Nikocado avocado.
Yep.
So gross. Poor Nick. I mean, I guess not poor Nick. He's making a lot of goddamn fucking money, I guess. So, good on him. Have I searched my beard for it? You know what? I haven't. See if the Dreyfus CD is in here. Nope. There's a Cheez-It from a while ago. No Dreyfus CD. Oh, that was a little stale.
Is it a Cheez-It or a Funyun?
It was nice. I just faked it. There was nothing in my beard. Have you searched your beard? Well, chat has died, and so have I. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.